Hello, welcome back to the Brewdog Reviews. I'm not going to say interesting, something a little bit odd for you today. We have a beer, some amber ale. Nothing unusual with me having a look at an amber ale. I love my traditional beers, obviously. Now, we've had various traditional breweries making craft beers, but now we have I'm not going to say craft brewery, a brewery that started off as a craft brewery making a traditional beer. It's going the other way, and you've probably guessed by now what I'm looking at. Yes, it's from a brewery that I'm not a big fan of, especially these days, let's be honest. But it is Brewdog, as I'm sure you've guessed by now, and so therefore it's Shore Leave. Shore Leave Amber Ale, coming in at 4.3%, about average for an amber, from the Good Ship Brewdog. Good Ship Brewdog? I think these days, is it? A question for the philosophers, maybe. So let's have a look at it. So you've got a nautical sort of theme on the can there. Comes in a single 440ml can or a 4-pack of the same. And I mean, as always with Brewdog, you can't read any of that, can you? So 4.3% amber ale. Let's have a look, shall we? I can't be bothered to go and get my dimple tankard or a standard pint glass, so it's going into the teku. So I mean, it's Brewdog, how much flavour is it going to impair? Not being funny. So looking at it, oh, well, good finger there of clean white head, distinctly, well, I wouldn't actually call that an amber beer. It's more of a gold colour. Fairly gentle carbonation, perfectly clear. It looks like an amber, or a deep gold, let's say, but it looks like a fairly traditional beer, let's be honest. Now, can they make a traditional beer and have it actually taste good? I mean, the fact that it's canned and not bottled with more carbonation than I would like in an amber, we'll see. Does smell like it. It's got that, but it's, again, the aroma is halfway between a golden ale and an amber ale. But there's malt in there. You can pick out a bit of hedgerowy hoppiness. It smells like what it is. You know, there's nothing fantastic there. There's nothing blowing my mind. Let's give it a go. Bit of biscuity malt, slightly verging on the toffee character. That slight hedgerowy hoppiness, gentle bitterness. It is what it is. I hate to say this. It's alright. Yeah. It's not blowing my brains out. It's not revolutionising the traditional British beer industry. It's just a simple traditional style beer, which there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, craft beer is fantastic. There's no denying it. There's so many different avenues to explore with craft beer. But sometimes we do need to just go back to our roots. We have some fantastic beer styles in this country and they deserve to be celebrated. Maybe not by a brewery with such questionable ethics, but it was there. Had to try it really, didn't I? It's a nice easy drinker, it's smooth, it's balanced, it's biscuity and got a nice bit of flavour to it. It would sit alongside, you know, any of those traditional golds, ambers, whatever, you know. You could easily walk into a pub and see your row of taps being Wainwrights, Hobgoblin, Thirsty Ferret, Shore Leaf. It wouldn't look out of place, and it wouldn't be out of place amongst those if it was on cask and hand pull, because obviously it has got too much carbonation for a beer of this style. There's no denying that. You know, it should be a slightly lower carbonation in a dimpled tankard, but knowing that it was a canned, probably going to be quite carbonated beer, there's no point going and getting my tankard out, was there? It is what it is. It's a nice simple beer. And you know, sometimes with certain breweries that have maybe got a bit too big, if they concentrated on the smaller things, the things that actually mattered, the beer, rather than being a bit over the top with their questionable ethics, they might get a few more drinkers to their side. Because that is a nice simple beer. You know, it's not gonna blast things out of the water, is it? You'll excuse the nautical pun. But it is, you know, have a couple of these in front of a fire. You know, go for a walk in the woods, visit a country pub, have a pint of that. That'd be perfect. Get it in cask, get it to pubs, hand pull. It'd be a winner. But there we have it. Now, I often use beers like Ghost Ship and Hobgoblin IPA and even Hobgoblin Gold sometimes as my just have a drink beers, because you don't have to think about them, let's be honest. They are what they are. They're not great, but you can just sit down and drink them without having any horrible flavour. That could sit alongside those. I think you can probably tell I'm trying hard not to praise Brewdog too much, but it is not a bad beer. I wouldn't say it's going to be a staple, you know. So I've got certain beers that I go to when I just fancy a drink. If I fancy a lager or a pilsner, I might grab some Staropramen or some Pilsner Urquell, something like that maybe. If I just fancy a more traditional ale, I'll have a Hobgoblin IPA. You know, anything from Badger really. If I just fancy a stout, of course I'm going to grab a Guinness. If I just fancy an ale, would I add that to that rotation? Probably would. Maybe not right now. Maybe not until Brewdog sort themselves out a little bit more, because do you want to give money to a company like that? Probably not. I know, yeah, go and buy some Hobgoblin. I'm just handing money over to Marston's. It's not great, but it's all the same, really, isn't it? Can I sit down and drink it? Yeah, I can. Is it going to be something that I'm going to go, ooh, I'll grab some of that? No, obviously not. It's just a standard end of the night drink, isn't it? You know, long day at work, fancy a beer, you can have one of those, you don't have to think about it. Oh, there you go. So, cheers to you all. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe down there. And until next time, well, happy drinking.